Everyone's soul has a weight when a person dies. Immediately let him be weighed. He will weigh 21 grams less than before he was born. This is the weight of the soul. If the corpse is re-injected with 21 grams of artificial soul, then the dead can be resurrected. They have no thoughts, can't talk, but it can move like a normal person. And it can also do some simple work instead of people. The point is that you don't need to eat. This poetic perpetual motion machine has been used hypnotically. Both are waiters in the restaurant, or the coolies on the docks, even the screw-making employees in the electronics factory. All were replaced with resurrected corpses, until one day, it was found that it was also possible to let the living dead go to war. They are fearless, and there is no need for military food. The cost of war was suddenly minimized. After discovering this, countries around the world have begun to desperately develop corpse resurrection technology. Which country is the most technologically advanced? It means which country has absolute sovereignty on the battlefield. With the deepening of research, the artificial souls injected into the corpses are also becoming more and more advanced. By the end of the 19th century, the ground is already filled with 80% corpses, author 90% of the work. But despite the countless corpses that humans have resurrected, but there is never a resurrection case beyond the world's first list. A scientist named Victor, the first dead man to be resurrected, the one, he can not only talk, and will pursue love, at last, married a wife. Wife is normal people who will live and die of old age and illness. After the death of his wife, she disappeared with the Victor notes that recorded how it was made. The technique of resurrecting corpses is intended to be further developed. We have to find this notebook. 2 young students have also been quietly studying the matter. Yet one day, one of them died of illness. To continue the research, he stole the bodies of his companions, quietly injected him with an artificial soul. Soon the government came to the door, because it is illegal to study this technology privately at home. But seeing that they can master this technology at a young age, it's a shame to kill it directly, so they were given a mission. A strange country has emerged in the Middle East. The leaders there were strange. It was as if he wanted to create a kingdom where all the dead were. And rumor has it that Victor's notes are there. The task was for him to go and bring the notes back. He also wanted to explore the secrets of his notes. Maybe it can really revive a dead friend. So he set out with his resurrected friend. Friends can also be coolies, carrying luggage. However, as soon as I arrived at the dock, I was attacked by a terrorist attack. This corpse bomb is able to actively approach the target, breaks down fat into glycerol, generates an explosion. He turned out to be the only one who had his eye on the notes. Per country, they all want to pocket it. Get rid of anyone who wants to compete for notes. The other side is crowded. Several people had no choice but to flee. However, the bomb corpses along the way were chased and intercepted. They jumped on the carriage in disgust. A second later it will explode. Just push down one. Immediately, another one came up. Dead hold her. He could only order the resurrected friend next to him to help. However, the friend was only resurrected yesterday. I haven't had time to learn to shoot yet. Take out the pistol and there is no movement. He could only repeat the instructions over and over again. Eyes reddened at the sight of the corpse. It's about to explode. The friend then raised his pistol. The dead woman suddenly became pregnant and gave birth to a child. She has to hold and feed her baby every day. Even in the cold winter, clothing is thin. It didn't seem to feel the cold at all. So this is the land of the corpse. All the people are raised by the dead. The only living person in the whole country is the king. Legend has it that the king mastered the most advanced resurrection of corpses in the world. That is, people who can bring the dead back to life have thoughts. Although corpses can now be resurrected all over the world, can be different from people who are resurrected elsewhere. They move stiffly. No verbal thoughts. The reason why the resurrection of this place is so advanced. It was a king who owned a notebook. It records the world's first successful resurrection of thought-provoking test questions. Dr. Watson and his party wanted to get the notebook. Not far away came to this place. The king welcomed them warmly, and asked the doctor, "What is the purpose of the notes you want to get?" However, the PhD said that the suitor technology does not need a purpose. The king looked helpless. Start telling your story about your past. It turned out that when he first got the note, he also wanted to resurrect a deceased person like the one recorded in the note. Not only being able to speak, have their own independent thoughts. It can also generate love for others. To this end, he even tried to inject artificial souls into the bodies of living people. However, the results were not satisfactory. All failed, until countless corpses piled up. He finally woke up. He has committed a heinous crime. He told Dr. Watson, "I can tell you where the notes are, but you have to promise me Once you get a note, you have to destroy it. Night. He replenished the soul of his dead friend, but the king suddenly pushed the door and came in. Speak. He had seen Dr. Watson's purpose, want to truly resurrect friends. Then he admonished in a serious tone, as well as notes. The reality behind it may not be what you think it is at all. When seeing the doctor so determined, the king breathed a long sigh of relief. It seems to have found someone who can carry a big mission for themselves. At night, the doctor went out to the bathroom, came to a room by chance, pushed open the door. But he found a terrifying scene. The king said, "This is one way to write it in your notes. Directly inject false souls into the bodies of living people." The doctor was quite angry, shout out loud, but the king disagreed. He slowly knelt down in front of the doctor. So far, the only living person in the country has also disappeared. Maybe they just took a different approach. Alive, the doctor and his party prepare to set off for Japan in search of Victor's notes. And inside that gloomy cave, the king began to eat as usual, repeating the real Walking Dead-like life. He asked his friends to dig his own grave. When he dies, he must plan out his own body and study it. If he is injected with an artificial 21 grams of soul, he can still recognize the other person. Then use a pen to tap the tip of your nose, to imply that this is an agreement between the two. Sure enough, he died of illness soon after. Watson also stole his body as agreed, but after being injected into the soul, it was found that Friday was the same as other resurrected corpses. Didn't know himself at all. Watson wanted to completely resurrect his friends, determined to find the legendary Victor notes. After some tossing and turning, they came to Japan, dive into the palace. Sure enough, Victor's notes were found in the depths. Just when he wanted to reach out and get it, suddenly remembered the king of the corpse empire before. He told Watson about his own death. Notes must be destroyed. Otherwise, the whole world will be thrown into chaos. After a moment of thought, he still didn't want to give up the opportunity in front of him. Just take a step forward. A full resurrection is possible on Friday. The procedure for taking notes has changed. Countless zombies in the palace were resurrected ahead of schedule, frantically attacking the two. Huge amounts of information kept coming into Friday's mind. The 21-gram artificial soul simply could not withstand such a great pressure. A painful reaction began on Friday. Then he looked at Watson like a living person. The zombies outside had already attacked, but now it's the most critical step. Just a little bit of time. Maybe Friday can really be back. But it was as if something was stopping him. Whenever you want to touch the tip of your scratched nose, a huge pain will strike immediately. The bodyguard rushed in. "I want to completely destroy my notes." Just raised the wrench and tried to smash it. Unexpectedly, the fire outside had spread, directly overturned several people. Then a strange old man came into the room. A gentle tap on the floor with a crutch can control Friday's behavior. Watson took a look. It turns out that the legendary first dead resurrected in the world is different from all the corpses that were later resurrected. It has a completely personal mind. He wanted to free all the zombies. In this way, under Watson's eyes, Victor's notes were taken away in a bright and upright manner. Watson also fainted from his injuries. When he woke up again, already on the way to the United States, the old man had arrived in the United States one step ahead of the other with notes. The use of analytical machines to create a large-scale zombie runaway event in Eurasia. Watson knew it was all his own fault. If you had ruined your notes earlier, this wouldn't have happened. When the crowd arrives in the United States, all floundered. All the zombies around them were out of control, start attacking humans. Countless people have lost their lives because of this. However, the closer you are to the location of the signal tower, Friday became more and more grumpy. He even began to attack Watson on his own initiative.